In this video we are going to learn about nested if function. The following table shows the sales information for a number of different models of mobile phones from popular manufacturers in 2005. The unit price in dirhams is given. These are different models, the manufacturer. Column C represents their price in dirhams, and column D we have to complete. In column D, use nested if function to display. Nested if function is similar to ifs function or the count ifs, sum ifs, average ifs, where more than one range and criteria are there. We use, for the if function, we call it nested if. Instead of one criteria, we have three criteria. Instead of two criteria, we have three criteria here: expensive, reasonable, and inexpensive. We have to use if statement for column D. I'll select the cell first where I have to use if statement equals if. Now the logical test. We have to use the nested if function, and we have to define a statement which is to say whether the mobile is expensive or reasonable or inexpensive. If the value is greater than or equal to 1000 dirhams, it is expensive. So if this value or the value or the price in dirhams is greater than or equal to 1000 dirham, it is expensive. So the true value is expensive for that. The criteria is expensive, inverted comma close. Second is the false statement, or the value when the logical statement is false is we have two options now, either reasonable or inexpensive. Because of these two options, we have to use the if function again. If the same value is greater than or equal to 500, is greater than or equal to 500. Now what is the condition when this statement is true? When it is greater than or equal to 500, or it means that it is a value lying between 500 to 1000, then the true value or the true statement for this is it is reasonable. So inside the inverted commas, reasonable. If it is not expensive, it is not reasonable, then the only option is it is inexpensive. Inexpensive. So all the statement or if statement should be the logical statement, the value when it is true and the value when it is false. So here this is the logical statement, this is the value when it is true, and for the false we had two options. That is the reason we are again using the if statement, and we have two options here. For all the two options we have one if function. So if we have three criteria to define, the function if function is 2. If we have 4 criteria to define, the if function will be 3, and such sequence of if function is called the nested if function. One is the inner bracket and one is the outer bracket. After we check all the criteria and the functions, I'll press enter. It says that the mobile E1000 3G Motorola, it is for this price and it is more than 1000, so it is expensive. Using autofill feature, I can check about the expensive, reasonable, and inexpensive criteria of these mobiles. So this is how we can use a nested if function.